as we really go to Genesis, we're going to go to Genesis. We got to tell these stories from Genesis if we're going to understand Jacob. Two very unusual stories. These stories are strange or even bizarre. And one of them, the first of the two, will be it has no meaning unless you bring Christ into it. It has no meaning unless you bring Christ into it. There are three stories that I say, there's some unusual stories, but these three that I'm going to tell you today. There's two of them, both are bizarre, but the main main one that's strange is the story of the staircase. So, strange and bizarre stories of the Bible that have no meaning other than Christ, not the Passover, though that's an unusual story. A lot of it makes sense, even sadly the death of these firstborn sons, because they killed all their male babies. And they're so, and then the meaning is really clear about Christ. Right away I got it. The Yom Kippur is an unusual service, and we're going to be having a Yom Kippur service coming up, but it made sense right away. When you hear about the lambs and the escaped goat and putting the sins on the goat and it goes away separated. The demoniac and the swine, it had, not necessarily its meaning why did it happen, but, it's unusual, but it makes sense to me. Hosea marrying the harlot. It's very unusual, asked by God to marry a loose woman, let's say. But it made sense. When you read why, it is harsh, but it made sense. Zipporah and the circumcision of the sons, very strange. That verse or section was used in my salvation as I was reading it. It was that and other things that said this is real, because this can't be made up. When they make up stories, they have little morals and heroism. But here's this. Clearly that, in my opinion, that happened. Reading it, this happened. And not the strange story of Job. The strangest I want to just mention, but it made sense right away. But one of the harshest stories in the Bible is Ezekiel 24, where he said in verse 16, Son of man, behold, I take away from you the desire of your eyes with one stroke, his loved wife. Ezekiel goes into the captivity at Babylon. He is taken captive too. He's one of those at the time of Jeremiah. I will take away the desire of your eyes with one stroke. It happened right after this. Right after this it happened. Yet you shall neither mourn nor weep, nor shall tears run down. You're not going to be able to cry about it. And as harsh as that is, and if you want to say unfair, go ahead. But you're saying it to a sovereign God. God is dealing with the death and destruction of his people. Many are going to die. Many are going to go into captivity, and many will be killed. Many women, many wives will be killed. Children will be killed. And before that, he says, this is going to happen to you. So she dies and goes right to heaven, but that you can't cry. I'm assuming that means publicly. He could not make that normal public display, and she couldn't. Unbelievable. Hard and harsh things happen. And as strange as they are, and as maybe some of them, I wish that didn't happen, these three make no sense unless Jesus comes in. And the three are the sacrifice of Isaac. It makes no sense. That one pretty early you could get, that's Jesus. God will supply a lamb. But it's a bizarre story and these next two really make no sense. Moses and the fiery serpents in Numbers 21. Read it. It doesn't make And it happened, okay, the people sinned. They called the manna this loathsome food. No, worthless food. It had worth, it had nutrition, and it was keeping them alive. They had water, and they had the bread, if you will, that would keep them, sustain them. And they call it this worthless food. We hate it, and all the supplying of the Lord water. We hate your drink. We hate and the fiery serpent. It's crazy what happens. But then we have it in John 3:16. John 3:14 says, just like that fiery serpent, bronze serpent was lifted up, so must the Son of Man be lifted up. And looking and believing on Jesus. Simple as that. And this one, Jacob and the staircase. Now, also unusual is Jacob wrestling with the Lord. We're going to have that one too. Why these things? Because in verse 1 of Exodus 1, we're starting Exodus. Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Each man and his household came with Jacob. And I thought it was useful to mention some things of Jacob that kind of go in, even the deceptions and that he came from with his father Isaac and his grandfather Abraham lying about their wives, that these deceptions, this made it into even through Moses and the people. And so I thought we should look at that. And what we're going to see tonight in two places, Genesis 28 first, go there. We see the deceiver going to become a receiver, to receive the Lord and trust in him. Both stories are needed for that. Genesis 28, Genesis 32. We need both stories to see that he became a believer in God. Verse 10, now Jacob went out from Beersheba. Ber means well. You see a lot of Ber this, Ber that. Ber means well. Sheba is really Sheba, and that means 7, the number 7, or oaths, because it was the place where Abraham set aside 7 lambs to Abimelech for a treaty, an oath between them. And so when he did that, it became known by that. The well of 7, or the well of oaths. Anyway, Jacob went toward Haran. We have Abraham coming from Haran. He comes from Ur. Then he spends a good long time in Haran. And then the Lord calls him up from Haran. He calls him out from Ur. He goes to Haran. Calls him out from Haran, and he goes to the land of Canaan. And he's going to go there. He's going to find a wife. So he came. What's he doing? He's running away from Esau, last week's story. Verse 11, so he came to a certain place and stayed there all night because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones of that place and put it at his head and lay down. He had a stone for a pillow, and he dreamed. Verse 12, and behold, a ladder. We're going to put up a picture, and the picture is, I told him to pick one, and that's a good one. I said, get one that doesn't have a wooden ladder that my father bought in 1957 or something, and that I went up to change storm windows. And it was one of those ladders that had one rung that was burnt one time. You have to step over it. You're way up like 30 feet. It was, no, you're up like 10 feet. I'm not going to put my weight on that. Even skinny little Bill. I don't think it was that. It's the word for ladder, but a staircase would probably do better. And we see some going up and some going down. This means nothing until I read the last verse that's in John. A ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. And there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it, they who represent messages. And behold, the Lord stood above it. And I won't hide it. It's not what do they ever call it, revealing the end of the story. Nothing wrong with that, but it's going to be this representation of salvation. Getting to heaven, access to heaven. And with the idea of salvation, the Lord stands above it. He is in charge of who gets saved, and he came up with one way. One way not in the New Testament, one way from Adam and Eve to today. One way. And even with Adam and Eve, there's the killing of animals to cover their sins. And the Lord made for them this robes, these skins of animals, the death of an animal to cover their sin. And so the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. And what will become famous was, he's the Lord of Abraham, the Lord of Isaac, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And he will be my God. They usually stop it there. And he who was the Lord of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob will be my God. Well, Jacob's not in it yet. So I'm the Lord of Abraham, I'm the Lord of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. Abrahamic covenant, nothing new. This is not new. You're the one, though. You're the promise and the seeds and what I'm going to do. All his seeds are going to be blessed and grow, but yours is going to be very special, and that's going to be the 12 sons of Israel, which become the 12 tribes. Also, 14, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad. Just again, like the sands of the sea, the stars of heaven, the dust of the earth, it shall spread abroad to the Jews, to the east and to the west, to the north and to the south. And in you and in your seed, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Genesis 12, the Abrahamic covenant. Behold, I am with you. Esau wasn't. If they're not with you, God's with you. Esau wasn't. He's there getting a bride, but he's running from his brother is what he's doing. Esau wasn't for him, but God was for him. And that's enough. And I will keep you. I'm not just there, I'm going to help. I will keep you wherever you go. God's will takes many turns. He's now up at Haran, towards Haran. He's coming back. And there, wherever you go, I will be there, no matter what the place. And I will bring you back to this land. Not only from Haran, but even in the end, they're going to go to Egypt. And you're going to go, they're going to leave their inheritance. Egypt is not part of their inheritance of the land. It's Palestine going up to the river. And so Egypt's not really part of that. Towards Egypt, yes. But also they brought him out of Egypt after they all died. But he brought his children out of Egypt to take him to the land. I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you. And so that's going to surpass his life, because it's not all done by the time he dies. I will not leave you, and I will not leave them, the nation I will make from you, until I've done everything I've spoken. Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord was in this place, and I did not know it. And you might look at your home, you might look at your bedroom, you might look at your bed, you might look at places where you're at. Do you know the Lord's there? Do you know it? Do you really know it? Are you sure? And then you get to a test, and you'll find he is there. He better be there or I'm in trouble. And he is there. He is there. Whatever it is. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? And so among the common, we hear this many, because this is a very common group this is coming out of. And now it's going to be Moses, right? Common man. Moses and Aaron, common rods. I know a miracle happened with both of them, those rods, but they were just sticks. A common bush is coming up. Sinai, common place. Mount Horeb is not this. The Mount of God is Mount of God when God came to it, but he'd been on that hill many, many times. It's just a common place, a dusty place. A common robe, and yet there would be leprosy and the removal of leprosy. His robe, he didn't have a coat of many colors like Joseph did, but Moses had a common robe. All the family was common. The Jewish people are common. And here's a common campsite. With that, if you have a thought, not much, Good. I'm not saying don't leave that. Keep that. You're not much. You're not much. Now, but then we got to go on to say, but I'm God's. I belong to him. Because you leave that out, that's wrong too. But you aren't much. You're not much. You're not much. We're really, really not much. Much of what we were talking about this morning. Groucho Marx tells a funny story. It's a little story, but a true story. He says it's a true story. This happened. And Groucho Marx is in Beverly Hills. He lived there. And in LA, there's this high rise. He didn't say it was an apartment, but I think it was an apartment. It sounded like, people lived there. And Greta Garbo got into the elevator, famous actress. And she's famously for saying, I want to be alone. And she says it in some movies, but she was very eccentric and did not go out. Till the end, till her olden days. When she was old, she would not get out much. She's very, very, very private. She got out, made some movies, made some money, and then she got out, private life. And so here's Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo would always wear these big hats because she would hide under them. And she'd dress rich, but it wasn't this flamboyant. She just didn't want people to recognize her. And Groucho said that she would back into elevators. She did this day. He found out that she'd back into elevators because she didn't want to meet the people. Not a nice person, not real sociable. You hope you meet a star, they're sociable. Well, she backs in this elevator with a big hat, and Groucho's in the back, and he's, practical joker. And he took her hat, big brimmed hat. He said, I pushed it forward. It came all the way over her face. And she turned around, he sees it's Greta Garbo. He's famous, she's famous, but she did not like that. He says she was mad. She puts the hat up, she's mad. And he says this, if you know Groucho Marx, he says, oh, sorry, I thought you were a fellow I knew from Kansas City. She got off, He says, he told the story to Dick Cavett in an interview, and he says, true story, that happened. And maybe it is true. I think it probably is true because he was always doing that. She's not so much. A guy from Kansas. She's not so much. You're not so much. I'm not so much. We get in trouble when we think we're much. Pretty special. I hope you think you're very blessed in your family, a Christian heritage. Maybe not mom and dad, but maybe your dad was. Maybe both your mom and dad were. Maybe you had a lineage of Christianity. Oh yes, be thankful for that. But we're not much. We're not much. We are the not much and the common, and yet it's awesome. Your life is awesome. The unbelieving world, their life is awesome. If they'll turn to the Lord, it can become an awesome thing. 17, this is none other than the house of God. And this is the gate of heaven. Think Jesus and nothing else. Or representation of Jesus. Then Jacob rose early in the morning, took the stone that he put his head on, put it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of the place Bethel. El is God. Certainly El is God. Beth is just the word for house. Bethlehem is the house of bread, So it's just the house of God. Bethel is the house of God. And you see Bethel. A lot of times Bethel comes up. You see it on maps and whatnot. It's Hebrew from house of God. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, before this altar, if you will, if God will be with me and keep me in 20, and keep me in this way that I am going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. We don't know when. It's clear with Josiah. He's king at 8. He reigns, but he's a kid. And at 16, he started to call upon the name of the Lord. Very clearly, what we would say saved when he was 16. I believe that this is indeed, I'm not saying he wasn't a believer in Abraham's God and in Isaac's God. That he believed, but now it becomes personal. It must become personal. And it becomes a true believer. Then you shall be my God, like we had Ruth saying to Naomi. Then you will be my personal God. He got saved. He got saved here. Let's leave that. And with that, But I do got to mention John 1. Here's Jesus now. Jesus is talking. Because I said, it's near the end of John 1. Because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree. Do you believe? You will see greater things than these. It's the Nathanael story. And he said to him, most assuredly, I say unto you, hereafter you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. The access to heaven is the Son of Man. It's Jesus. He's the way. He's the door. No man on earth will come to him, come to the Father, except by him. All teaching like a good debater, Daniel Craig, whatever. Good debater, but he's wrong on some things and he's wrong on this. He's articulate. Well, others that never heard, they never heard. And they can be saved with the little that they do know of some sort of God somewhere out there. They're not saved. They're not saved. And he thought that that's not fair. Who are you? How do you know when people were born and what they heard and couldn't hear, and that if they did hear, they would believe? How do you know that? Because he held the epochs in time, and anyone who wanted to believe in God would have heard and would have believed at any time in history. I believe that very firmly. But if they never heard of Jesus, they could not have been saved. Thus, the push to tell others, everybody, everywhere, tell others about the Lord. He's the way of salvation. Strange story, but then Jesus, it's Jesus. He's the way to heaven. Story number 2 is in Genesis 32. It's related to this. That one is the story. This one is bizarre here, but very interesting. From verse 3, Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother. Warring's going on there. In the land of Seir, the country of Edom. That's probably the country that is now Edom, not language-wise, but Edom means it's related to red and Esau and the lentil in there. So it's probably not right then being called Edom yet, and that, but it's the country of Edom that is later on, or at the time of the writing of this, Edom. And he commanded them, saying, speak thus to my lord Esau, thus your servant Jacob says. I don't want to put too much on it, but we got to be mindful of him cheating him out of his birthright, not even of deception, just hitting him on a weakness of hunger, and then deceiving his father. That's when he received it, and it could not be retracted, though wrong in God's plans. And the deceiver became a receiver, and now he's a believer and calling on God. And is the birthright enacted? It is given, but it's not enacted until he dies. So he doesn't have the blessing until the father dies, and then he becomes the head of the family. He's not the head of the family yet, because Isaac is not dead. So he backs away from his shenanigans, it seems, here. My lord Esau, you who were in that place, your servant Jacob. Verse 4. Again, I'm not putting too much on it, but he could have spiritually, he knew the blessing was his. But it says, the blessing is mine if God gives it. And if God continues to give it, if I continue to live, and my master dies, my father dies, then it'll come to me. And it did not come to him. The birthright did not come to him through shenanigans. Though it happened, it came to him because God wanted it to come to him. It wasn't he who caused it. God caused it. Unfortunately, Jacob did his deceiving. I have oxen, 5, donkeys, flocks, male and female servants. I've sent to tell my Lord that I may find favor in your sight. I know what I did to you. I want favor in your sight. My Lord, me, your servant. Then the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to you, brother Esau, and he also is coming to meet you and 400 men with him. If you hear your enemy and you put out a peace pipe, and you hear your enemy is coming with 400 men. Oh, this is probably good. No, he's not thinking anything good, for it says in verse 7, so Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He saw all his life what this man could do with deer, with whatever. He's a hunter. Crack shot. He could never beat him in a contest and that. Strong, much stronger than him in there. And he is upset. And he knows not the future of what God's going to do and kill him and give it back to Esau and whatever God might do. He doesn't know what's going on. Jacob is greatly afraid and distressed. And he divided the people that were with him so we could attack him. You go around the front, I'll go around the back. Not at all. And the flocks and the herds and the camels into two companies. And he said, if Esau comes to the one company and attacks it, then the other company shall be left and escape. Some will live. He just breaks it up so that if he kills us, he's not going to get all of us. He's not predicting good things. Then Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, return to your country and to your family, I will deal well with you. What is that from? We're in Genesis 32, Genesis 31, 3. He said it there in Genesis 31, 3. And he should have taken faith by that. Return to the land, I will be with you. Verse 10, I am not worthy. This man's today he became a Christian. Back then he became a believer. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, of all the truth which you have given your servant. For I crossed over this Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and attack me and the mother with the children. The alpha dog in our family, other than my father, my dad was not an alpha dog. He was like the alpha king, And my mother was his dear servant, But the alpha dog amongst the 7 kids was my brother Tim. Not even close. My brother Tim would come home and he would make the same cinnamon rolls we make today. My mom made them, Tim learned it, and I make today the very same cinnamon rolls that Tim made. He'd make a tray of cinnamon rolls. My parents were gone. He wouldn't do this in front of my mother and my father. And then he'd take it to go eat it somewhere, the whole tray. Could I have one? The first time they tried to get some, could I have some? Could I have some? No. And he would say it like that lion again. And my sisters will tell you the story. If they told you the story today, he never gave any, and they would say, it's not yours. Mom bought that flour, and she bought all that. He got to the point of not saying anything. And my sister would say this, he didn't give any to anybody except you, Bill. Because I was like, yes, master. What is thy wishes, master? I was always sucking up to Tim all the time. I am not a fool. He was the power broker. Why go against him all the time? And Tim would give me 1 or 2. There you go, Bill. No one else. Well, he's trying to get into that place. He's trying to get, Tim could kill me, beat me up to, and he's appealing to him in every way that he can. But his real appealing is to God. Deliver me, I pray. You could save me from my brother, lest he come and attack me and the mother with the children. This is interesting, quickly. Lest he come and attack me and the mother with the children. If you want to look this up, we're not going to do it. It's not that important. It's just interesting. Deuteronomy 22:6 and Hosea 10:14. He's not mentioning Rachel and Leah, and the boys are born already. The boys, he is married twice, and the boys are born. He's got his 11 sons already. But he's not mentioning that. If you read those 2 passages, when they talked of total destruction, and you kill the mothers and you kill the children, So this comes up where a total, even, you take them slaves maybe? No. They kill the men and they kill the mothers and they kill the children. And it's probably a statement, not fearing for Rachel. Yes, of course he was fearing for Rachel. But it's really a statement, a biblical statement in Deuteronomy 22:6 and Hosea 10:14 that he would not come and utterly decimate us. Also utterly kill every one of us. Lord, you can help me. Verse 12, for you said, always wise in your prayers. Give God back his promises. Always, Lord, you promised help unto me. You have been there. And we're not like, I want what you said, you're going to give it to me. No. In faith, give back the Lord his verses in your prayers. I'm telling you, it will go better. And give back the Lord his promises. Oh, Lord, you promised unto me. I will trust in you. Deal with this. Help me in this. Thy will be done. There's Jobian things that happen. There's things that, there is death. Thy will be done. We don't know the Lord. The Lord will save me, but if he won't save me, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So I don't know what's going to happen, but unless it's the salvation of heaven, the last deliverance is heaven, that you would deliver me now in the land of the living. Ask for deliverance, for you said, I will surely treat you well and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, and we had earlier as the dust of the earth, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So he lodged, bivouacked there the same night. And he arose. Let me shake, rattle, and roll with the rest of it. Famous story, but and strange, another strange story. So he rose that night, took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. And he took them, sent them over the brook, and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone. He left himself alone. He sent them, and then he got alone for this event. And a man, verse 28 says it's God. And a man, he did not appear as God, he appeared as a man, but it's God, verse 28. Verse 24, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. The man would surely be the Son of God. I believe it's the Son of God. And he wrestled with, and I don't know who picked the fight. We don't know how this developed, but it says a man wrestled with him. And so the closest we would come to it is that, that the man wrestled, that the man picked the fight, let's say. Somewhere he's getting what this is and who this is, because he asks a big thing. To wrestle that long, I'm an expert in wrestling, child wrestling. We were all in 15 minutes. We'd be all around that upstairs. What are you doing up there? We're wrestling. We'd always be wrestling. We did some boxing. My dad always wanted us to get us to box, but the sport at hand was wrestle. We would wrestle. The boys never wrestled my sisters. My dad would kill me if I did anything to my sisters. Now, verse 24, but wrestling that long, sometimes the Lord will just take everything out of you. He must have been totally vanquished, tired. Now, when he saw that he did not prevail, many times we fought my brother Tim wrestling, and we couldn't quite pin him down, but he was letting us win. And clearly he's letting them win. He didn't prevail. God lost the wrestling match. God could not, I'd like some skeptics to get this. God couldn't even beat Jacob in a wrestling match. Oh yeah? Read this. And he did not prevail against him. God did not prevail against him, Jacob. He touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And so, why didn't he do that move right off the bat? If you're wrestling and you can touch him and his socket goes off. So clearly he allowed this man to fight with him, as he allows you to sometimes fight with him. I'm not saying in unbelief, but he'll allow this, and he allowed this fighting, and he allowed him to persevere. So he said to him, what's your name? Jacob, which means heel grabber, but it was used for deceiver. And he said, your name will no longer be called deceiver, but Israel. For you have struggled with God and with men, your brother, and you've prevailed. You're still alive. You struggled with God and you've struggled with men, and you're still alive. It says what that is in Genesis 35:10. And God said to him, your name is Jacob. He says in 32, I'm going to change it. But here he says what it is. Your name shall be Jacob, deceiver. Your name shall not be called Jacob anymore, but Israel shall be your name. So he called Israel. El is God. And the beginning of it is the one who wrestles with God or prevails with God. The one who wrestles with him. And he blessed him there. Verse 26. He said to him, I will not let you go unless you bless me. That was the pinnacle of it. I will not go unless you bless me. Somewhere by now he knows it's God. And unless you, I think of Jabez, right? Jabez. I will not let go unless you bless me. And this is a very good posture, though it's a very strange thing. And you're not going to get the opportunity to wrestle with God physically. You're not going to get that opportunity. Only one did. But we could wrestle with him in prayer that he would bless your life. Not money. No, that he'd bless your living, bless your witnessing, your teaching, your family, in anything, physically, and anything that might come up, that he would bless me. I'm not going to let go unless you bless me, and you don't let go. Don't let go till he blesses you and will help you. And it says at 29, and he blessed him there. I had to look up a few other names, other ones that have to be blessed of God. There's one, it's Baruch. Baruch means blessed of God, and there was one named it. Jeremiah's companion and scribe was called Baruch. That literally would be blessed of God. He used the one that wrestles with God. Matthew's kind of close, gift of God. Matthew, gift of God. Zachary is God remembers. Jabez, the one who was blessed, what does his name mean? Anything of blessing? Do you remember this? Pain, sorrow, because she had great pain in childbirth. Every woman does. It's never a lark, but great pain, a problem birth. And his whose name was Pain was blessed of God. And he prayed, Lord, bless me, Lord, bless me. And so since he asked, he did. Verse 30 of Genesis 32, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, the face of God, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. And he limped on his hip for the rest of his life, it seems. Therefore, 32, this is just an aside. To this day, the children of Israel do not eat the muscle that shrank, which is on the hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip and the muscle that shrank. Had to look it up. Is that was to the day of writing of Genesis, Moses' time. Is it still today? And it's still today. To this very day, the religious Jews will not eat that portion. They called it the Gid Hanasheh, the sciatic nerve of a kosher animal that has a hip. They will not eat it. The dietary law is called Nakur, and being Jewish people, they sell it. They'll make money off of it, and they will take the shank, if you will, and sell it to a non-kosher market. It's fine meat, nothing's wrong with the meat, but a faithful Jew to this day will not eat of it. There is one way to heaven, and you have it. You've received it. There's one-way traffic by a one-way Christ. It is only him. It is only the gospel. If there was another way, Jesus would have let us take it and not die. But he said there's not these words, but a very clear understanding of Gethsemane. If there's any other way, I would have taken it. If there was another way, I certainly would not have died. There is no other way. It's probably the greatest statement, though he doesn't say it. If you read, he doesn't say it that way. But he said, this could be taken away from me. There's another way, do that. Do that way. There is no other way. It is Jesus. And then we go, all this stuff Then it goes over to Moses. And we have the Yom Kippur. And we have the Passover and the lamb that was offered, and a youth lamb in Passover, and a male and pure, not a hobbling blind one or anything, a pure lamb. And of its innocent age, not with the great ram's horn of Isaac's sacrifice. Not that, but one that was innocent and pure like Jesus made himself to be. He is the only way. They're only saved through Christ. And this thing that Jehovah's going to do at some point and provide for the atonement of our sins somewhere in the future, let us commemorate it and believe in Jehovah and get saved. This was good to do as we go into the story. The one that came from the children of Jacob, from the tribe of Levi, those things should be remembered as we see now the true focus of Exodus is not a man, but there is a man in the forefront. And we're going to learn a lot about Moses. Lord, are we up the ladder now? No, not my spirit that walks the earth in this tool. But yes, I am. I'm up the ladder now. I have been saved. We have been saved. These, as we leave, if they have trusted Christ as their Savior, they're going to go to heaven. It is settled or it is not at all. We know of many that falsely profess. We know this, I don't want to call it nonsense, but that confusion and that distortion and that error, that goes on. But that is not of the sheep or of the lambs. That is not of these. For if they have trusted in you and believe in you and you are their only cure, they're going in to heaven. They will be saved. So Lord, save us in the here and now. The littler things that come up, oh, they're big to us. They're big to us. Lord, you have all around us is salvation. All we've been thinking about is salvation in the here and now with what's happened in our lives. And now we pass the baton. Someone else with difficulty or trouble, God will deliver. It's going to be all right. It's going to be fine. It could go all wrong and bad. It'll be fine in heaven at least. Oh Lord, we have chosen well, and that choice in a sense is coming from you. For more than we chose you, you chose us. And we are of Christ. Lord, put fearlessness in our hearts. When we're in physical, mortal danger, let us have a calm. We're children of God. Our destination is assured. Let us be used any way you want on this earth. Bless these, those that have come in to Christ's fold. We prayed in his name. Amen.